The alien soldiers burst into screechy laughter as the invisibility armor activated, cloaking the human soldiers, and their cruel alien guffaws gurgled into silence as stealth knives sliced alien throats and ended alien lives. At a space station bar orbiting planet Kytis Prime, two cat-like Caitian aliens met to drink and discuss the war with humans raging across the galaxy. Xanth, a hardened cyborg veteran missing an eye, dismissed the human soldiers as harmless. Those bald monkeys fumble with crude guns and wobble in heavy armor. Our gene-boosted warriors and advanced weapons outclass the humans. The war will end quick. But Xanth's young squadmate Reich shared alarming rumors. Humans never quit. They adapt and fight dirty. Now there's talk of new human stealth gear that blinds our senses, makes the humans vanish. Xanth spat his drink out as cybernetic laughter convulsed his body. Stupid human tricks, silly ghost tales. We mastered invisibility long before humans built huts from mud. This is real, Rick insisted grimly. Zin from your Tharsis Mon's battle squad saw human ghosts gut his men. Invisible blades in human hands. Blood everywhere. Squad wiped out. Zin limped home wounded. Now Xanth tensed, metal eye unblinking as memories replayed. If true, humans had tipped the war's balance. Humans could now sneak past Caitian lines and stealthily decimate armies from within. The Caitians' furry bodies slashed open. All 9 lives lost at once. An empire gutted and crumbling. The Caitian race, facing extinction, needed to crack this new human technology fast, or perish. The war had entered a terrifying new phase of unseen human assassins, and aliens everywhere now trembled, helplessly waiting for invisible human knives to slash them apart in the darkness as the mocking human laughter began. Rick rummaged through his uniform pocket, pulling out a small disc. He set it on the table between them and tapped a button on the side, causing a holographic projection to flicker to life above it. I got my claws on some footage from the Battle of Tharsis Mons. It ain't much, but it might give us a clue about these ghost soldiers, Rick said, leaning forward. The blue-tinged hologram showed a chaotic firefight, plasma bolts streaking through the air, as Caitian warriors tried to hit an unseen enemy. Suddenly, a human soldier materialized out of thin air, his armor shimmering like a mirage. He raised his weapon, a sleek rifle that fired a searing beam of blue light. It struck a Caitian soldier, his armor melting like candle wax as he crumpled to the ground. More human soldiers appeared, phasing in and out of visibility as they moved with fluid grace, cutting through the Caitian ranks like a plasma torch through steel. Xanth leaned closer, his organic eye narrowing, while his cybernetic one whirred as it zoomed in on the footage. "That's no ordinary stealth armor," he growled. "They ain't just invisible, they're phasing between dimensions or some shit, stepping in and out of reality like it's nothing." Rick nodded grimly. "That's not all. Word is they got a commander leading these ghost warriors. Goes by Paul Turner, the ghost captain. They say he can walk through walls, vanish in a blink, and take out a whole platoon solo." Xanth snorted. "Paul Turner? What kind of name is that for a soldier? Damn humans and their ridiculous titles," he scoffed. He paused, metal fingers drumming on the table as he considered the implications. "If the humans have cracked dimensional phase in tech, we're in for a real scrap. We gotta adapt and fast," Xanth said. Rick leaned back, his expression thoughtful. "What if we could snag one of these ghost soldiers? Study their tech, find a way to beat it?" Xanth shook his head. "Easier said than done. We can't even spot the bastards, let alone catch one alive. And if half the stories about this Turner guy are true, he ain't gonna spill his secrets without a fight." The two Caitians lapsed into silence, the weight of the war's grim turn pressing down on them. The battle against the humans had taken a terrifying twist, and the very survival of their species now hung in the balance. The bar's chatter dulled to a murmur, as the imposing figure of General Kraz loomed over Xanth and Rick's table. Xanth's organic eye widened in surprise, his metal one whirring as it focused on the general's battle-scarred visage. "Commander Xanth, Lieutenant Rick," General Kraz rumbled, his voice a low growl. "I have new orders for you." Xanth rose to his feet, his posture rigid with military discipline. "General Kraz, what brings you to this station?" The general handed Xanth a datapad, his expression grim. "We have a situation. Our intelligence network has uncovered a human plot to infiltrate the Cation homeworld using their invisible soldiers. We believe they intend to assassinate the Emperor and cripple our command structure." Rick's fur bristled with shock. "The Emperor? But how? Our defenses are impenetrable." General Kraz shook his head. "Not anymore. The humans have found a way to bypass our sensor nets and phase through our energy shields. We suspect they've been gathering intelligence on our homeworld for months, using their ghost captain, Paul Turner, to scout our defenses." Xanth scrolled through the datapad, his brow furrowed as he absorbed the dire information. "What's our plan of action, General?" The General pointed to a schematic on the datapad. "We've developed a new type of sensor array, designed specifically to detect the dimensional phasing technology used by the human soldiers. We need you and your team to install these arrays at key locations around the Imperial Palace. If we can detect the humans' approach, we stand a chance of stopping them before they reach the Emperor." Rick nodded, his eyes hardening with determination. "We won't let you down, General. The Emperor's safety is our top priority." General Kraz clasped Xanth's shoulder, his grip firm. "I'm counting on you, Commander. You're one of our best. If anyone can stop these invisible soldiers, it's you." Xanth saluted, his cybernetic eye glinting in the bar's dim light. "We'll get it done, General. The humans won't know what hit them." As General Kraz turned and strode away, Xanth and Rick exchanged a look of grim resolve. The fate of the Cation Empire hung in the balance, and failure was not an option. "We need to move fast," Xanth said, his metal fingers tightening around the datapad. "Gather the team and brief them on the situation. We'll need our best technicians to install these sensor arrays." Rick nodded, already rising from his seat. "I'll get Zara and Nix on it. They're the sharpest minds we have when it comes to sensor tech." Xanth's organic eye narrowed. "And what about these ghost soldiers? How do we fight an enemy we can't even see?" Rick's tail twitched with unease. "The General said these new sensors should be able to detect their phasing tech. If we can see them, we can shoot them." "Let's hope you're right," Xanth growled, "because if the humans succeed in assassinating the Emperor, it'll be the end of the Cation Empire as we know it." Xanth and Rick stood in the command center, their eyes focused on the holographic displays as technicians bustled around them, installing the new sensor arrays. The room hummed with a tense energy, the weight of their mission hanging heavy in the air. Zira, a young Caesian technician with keen eyes and a quick mind, approached the two officers, her tail twitching with nervous energy. "Commander Xanth, I've been analyzing the data from the new sensors, and I've noticed something strange," she said, her voice tight with concern. Xanth turned to face her, his cybernetic eye whirring as it focused on the datapad in her hands. "What have you found, Technician Zira?" Zira handed him the datapad, pointing to a series of graphs and charts that danced across the screen. "The sensors are detecting faint traces of dimensional phasing energy, but the signatures don't match those of the human soldiers. It's almost as if there's another faction at play here." Rick leaned in, his brow furrowed as he studied the data. Another faction? Could it be a rogue human element working against their own people? Zira shook her head, her ears flattening against her skull. "I don't think so. The energy signatures are distinctly different from those of the human soldiers. It's like they're using a more advanced version of the phasing technology." Xanth's organic eye narrowed as he considered the implications, his metal fingers tightening around the datapad. A third party, with technology that surpasses even the humans. This complicates matters. Rick nodded, his expression grim. "If there's another player on the board, we need to find out who they are and what their intentions are. They could be a potential ally, or an even greater threat than the humans." Xanth turned to Zira, his voice firm. "Keep monitoring the sensors and analyze any new data that comes in. We need to get to the bottom of this mystery." Zira saluted, her posture straightening. "Yes, Commander. I'll keep you informed of any new developments." As Zira returned to her station, Xanth and Rick exchanged a worried look, the weight of this new revelation settling heavy on their shoulders. First the humans and their invisible soldiers, now a potential third faction with advanced technology. This war is taking a dangerous turn, Reich remarked, his tail lashing behind him. Xanth nodded, his cybernetic eye whirring as it processed the new information. We need to be cautious. If we make the wrong move, we could find ourselves caught between two powerful enemies. But if we can unravel this mystery, it might just give us the edge we need to turn the tide of the war. The two Caitians returned to their work, their minds racing with the possibilities and dangers that lay ahead. The war against the humans had become more complex than they ever imagined, and the stakes were higher than ever. The fate of their species, their very way of life, hung in the balance. The command center doors hissed open as Xanth and Rick strode in, the gravity of the situation etched on their battle-hardened faces. General Kraz stood at the head of the briefing table, his posture rigid and his eyes narrowed. The room buzzed with a tense energy as the Caitian officers took their seats, their tails twitching with anticipation. General Kraz cleared his throat, his voice a low rumble. "Commander Xanth, Lieutenant Rick, we have a situation that requires your immediate attention." Xanth leaned forward, his cybernetic eye whirring as it focused on the general. "What's the problem, sir?" The general tapped a button on the table, and a holographic display flickered to life, bathing the room in an eerie blue glow. "Our intelligence network has uncovered a shocking truth. The third faction that Technician Zero detected is not a new player, but a splinter group of humans who have been working against their own kind." Rick's fur bristled with surprise. Humans turning against humans, why would they do that? General Kraz sighed, his shoulders sagging under the weight of the revelation. This group, known as the Shadow Collective, has been manipulating both the humans and the Caitians from the shadows. They've been providing the human military with the dimensional phasing technology, while simultaneously feeding us false information to keep the war going. Xanth's organic eye widened as the pieces fell into place. They've been playing both sides, using us as pawns in their twisted game. Rick slammed his fist on the table, his claws leaving deep gouges in the metal surface. "Those treacherous bastards, they've been making fools of us all." The general nodded grimly, his expression darkening. "It gets worse. The Shadow Collective's true goal is not just to prolong the war, but to weaken both our species to the point of extinction. They believe that by eliminating both the humans and the Caitians, they can establish themselves as the dominant power in the galaxy." Xanth shook his head in disbelief, his metal fingers clenching and unclenching. "All this time we thought we were fighting the humans, but the real enemy was hiding in the shadows, pulling the strings." General Kraz leaned forward, his eyes locked on Xanth and Rick. "We have no choice but to form a temporary alliance with the humans. We must put aside our differences and work together to stop the Shadow Collective before they destroy us all." Rick scoffed, his tail lashing behind him. "An alliance with the humans after everything they've done? How can we trust them?" Xanth placed a hand on Rick's shoulder, his grip firm. "We don't have to trust them, but we must work with them. The enemy of our enemy is our friend, at least for now." The general nodded, his expression grim. "Commander Xanth is right. We've already reached out to the human leadership, and they have agreed to a joint operation to take down the Shadow Collective. The fate of both our species hangs in the balance." As the meeting adjourned, Xanth and Rick shared a look of determination, their eyes hardening with resolve. The war had taken an unexpected turn, and the once bitter enemies now had to unite against a common foe. The path ahead was uncertain, and the scars of the past would not heal easily. But the survival of both the Caitians and the humans depended on their ability to work together. The invisible soldiers, once a symbol of human ingenuity and a source of fear for the Caitians, would now become a key asset in the fight against the Shadow Collective. The true nature of the war had been revealed, and the real battle for the future of the galaxy had only just begun. Xanth and Rick stepped out of the command center, their minds reeling from the revelations. They walked in silence for a moment, the weight of their new mission settling heavy on their shoulders. "I never thought I'd see the day when we'd be fighting alongside the humans," Rick muttered, his voice tinged with disbelief. Xanth nodded, his cybernetic eye glinting in the harsh light of the station's corridors. Neither did I, but we don't have a choice. The Shadow Collective threatens everything we hold dear. Rick's ears twitched as a thought occurred to him. What about the Ghost Captain, Paul Turner? If he's been using the Shadow Collective's technology, does that mean he's working with them? Xanth paused, considering the question. I don't know. The humans seem just as surprised by the Shadow Collective's existence as we are. It's possible that Turner and his team are just pawns in this game, like us. Rick snorted, his tail swishing behind him. Pawns or not, they're still a threat. We'll need to keep a close eye on them during this joint operation. Xanth nodded, his expression grim. Agreed. We can't afford to let our guard down even with this temporary truce. The Shadow Collective will stop at nothing to achieve their goals, and we must be prepared for anything. As they continued down the corridor, Xanth's mind raced with the possibilities and dangers that lay ahead. The war had taken a shocking turn, and the future was more uncertain than ever. But one thing was clear. The Caitians and the humans had to set aside their differences and work together, or risk losing everything they held dear. The invisible soldiers, once a symbol of fear and destruction, now represented a glimmer of hope in the fight against the Shadow Collective. Xanth and Reek knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger and sacrifice, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the true test of their strength and resolve was about to begin. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.